Hi, today we're going to take a look at the Saramonic Ultra wireless microphone system and the company's new release, a digital adapter for Sony cameras. So, let's see what they can do. In the box, you get the charging case with 2 transmitter units, 1 receiver, and both USB-C and Apple Lightning adapters for smartphones. There is also a 3.5mm short cable and 2 dead cats for the transmitters. You will also get a small antenna and a short USB-C charging cable. In our kit, we also got 2 lav mics and clips as well as foam covers. Finally, we also received an optional Sony adapter, which is sold separately. Saramonic does provide a fabric bag for the accessories, although an actual larger case would have made more sense to us for both the mics and at least some of the accessories. The Ultra comes with 2 transmitters, each about 4.5 centimeters long, and a little under 3.5 centimeters wide and just under 1 centimeter thick. Each transmitter weighs about 42 grams, the receiver is only slightly larger and weighs about the same. The transmitters have 3 buttons: on-off with a color ring indicating status on the front, noise reduction and record on the right, as well as a 3.5mm non-locking jack on the top and a USB-C on the left. It has a metal clip on the back, and it comes with a square magnet that goes with it into the charge case. The receiver unit is really small and lovely and has an on-off button on the top with a pressable jog wheel on the front. On the right, there is a connection for the extended range antenna that comes with the unit, and on the left, there is a 3.5mm jack that connects to either the camera or headphones. The screen on the receiver is bright, colorful, and easy to read. It is a touchscreen, but the interface is pretty strange and takes some getting used to. Swiping from the top down brings a menu for controlling the transmitters, including mute, noise reduction, and auto record. Swiping from the right brings the main menu with options to change the output, volume, mic gain, gain modes, sound options including vocal booth, low cut, etc., record settings, speaker, timecode, pairing, display, and some general system options. We would actually prefer it if the unit had an extra button or 2 instead or in addition to the touchscreen to go into the menus. However, we do have a love-hate relationship with touchscreens in general. We won't go too deep into each option, but it's clear that Saramonic gave users plenty of control and recent firmware updates improved on some of the aspects even more. There are a couple of things that aren't working from the receiver at the moment, like setting up specific cameras in the gain modes. These still need to be set up in advance on the app. More on this later. We already covered the main features of the unit in a short that we have published on YouTube in late 2024, but here they are again. Saramonic also created an app for controlling the unit, which is surprisingly useful, including most of the main features found on the receiver, like noise reduction, voice enhance, bit depth, low cut, and more, as well as a clear level indicator. The app works well and could have been a fantastic tool for many Saramonic Ultra users, but it has 2 big shortcomings. The first is a very cumbersome setup that requires pretty annoying and in our view unnecessary registration process. Luckily, this is a one-time thing. The bigger issue is the lack of Bluetooth support for the Ultra. This means that the user needs to physically connect the receiver unit to the phone, and this can't be done when the receiver is connected to the camera hot shoe, making the app useless when using the Sony adapter. Talking about the Sony adapter, a few months after the announcement of the Ultra, Saramonic introduced a small adapter that connects to Sony cameras using the Multi-Interface Shoe. Sony has been using this technology for years with some of their mics and adapters, and both Godox and more recently DJI have been using it as well, and now Saramonic has joined the party. The ability to connect digital audio to the camera without cables is fantastic. We lost these cables so many times and they are always at risk of damage. The Saramonic adapter is interesting. It connects using the backport of the receiver, you need to learn how to lock it in place, and then you need to push it into the multi-interface shoe on the camera, which requires some force. Our unit was a little delicate and the plastic part of the connector was released once. It didn't seem to damage the operation of the unit and we connected it right back, but Saramonic needs to make sure that these units are a little more robust. We tested the unit with our Sony A1, A7R5 and A7 IV cameras and it worked well with all of them. It took some time to learn, but for our voice we needed to add between 6 and 10 decibels of boost in the transmitter to get a decent audio level. Note that you can't do this from the camera when a digital accessory is connected. Also note that when you first connect the adapter to the camera, you need to go into the camera menu and change the settings to record 24-bit, as the default is set to 16-bit only. So we're going to start our tests with a range test, and instead of walking outside just in a straight line, we decided to test this basically here in the studio, and we're going to test it behind several closed doors and basically going down inside a building. We think that this is a more interesting and realistic test than just a straight line outdoors. So let's see how it works. What we're going to do, we have the mic in here. We're going to play some sound so we'll know when this is going to be cut out or if there are going to be any interferences. And we're going to use a gimbal just to show you what we are doing to not make this too boring. So let's start. Okay, we're passing through the first door. In a second, we're going to go into a very dark hallway. Through another door. And we're going to go downstairs. This is going to be one floor. So in our test, we were able to show that the Sarmonic Ultra with the antenna can transmit good quality audio through not just one, but two metal doors and quite a bit of concrete. Obviously, it can't go through all the stairs. We are in the third floor. We tried it up to the first floor, but it didn't work. But even one floor or half a floor down through two metal doors and quite a bit of concrete is pretty impressive. So now we are going to test the noise reduction, and you can only change the level of the noise reduction from the app. So you have to connect the receiver to the app, to a phone or tablet or something like that, and change it. But you can activate and deactivate it from either the receiver or from the unit itself. Now it's turned off. So there should be quite a bit of background noise here in the studio. And what we're going to do, I'm going to turn on some noise from our smartphone. We have an app that has some background noises. So let's turn the background noise on. It's kind of loud. Something like this. This is closer to the mic. And this is what you would hear. Now what I want to do is turn the noise reduction on using the microphone itself. It has a button here on the side. So let's turn it on. And as you can see, there is a green light now. And you will be able to tell whether or not this actually changes the level of noise that you hear when I'm speaking, and whether or not my speaking voice has changed the quality level in any meaningful way. So this is the noise test that we have been doing. Both the transmitters and the receiver have an official battery life of about 6 hours, and the charging case should have 2 full charging cycles for all their units. We never came close to draining any of these so far, and our only suggestion would be to have a small screen on the case that will show the battery status of each unit and the case itself. The Ultra has a 32-bit float mode that you need to turn on in the receiver. We tested it and it certainly works and can be a lifesaver in certain situations to prevent audio clipping. The only thing to remember is that almost no camera at the moment supports 32-bit float, so the only way to enjoy this feature is to use the recording from the internal memory of the microphone. So this last test is going to be testing both the Lark Max from Holyland that we've tested in the past and the Saramonic Ultra, both connected to two cameras, A7 IV and A7 R5, with the antenna on the Ultra and the Sony mic adapter on the A7R5 and the Ultra. The A7 IV is well the Hollyland Lark Max connected using a 3.5mm cable, and they're all set more or less the same as we did before, with the gain at auto in the case of the Ultra. And you can hear the difference in the voice or the noise levels or anything else in terms of the quality of the audio from the two mics. And you can determine for yourself which mic do you like better. They're at the same distance from my mouth. So it should sound more or less identical in terms of the levels, at least, to your ear, but you will be the judge and you can tell us in the comments. The only major feature which we didn't try on the unit is the timecode. You can, however, check a video Saramonic released on this feature in the full review on LensVid. So 2 updates about the Sarmonic Ultra before we conclude. The first one has to do with gain modes. And what we discovered is that when we use the gain mode, which is basically auto gain, the gain mode that is automatic for the receiver, what we get is some sort of a low-level noise with our Sony cameras. Now, we asked Saramonic about this. We're still waiting for an answer, and we will update the LensVid article about the Saramonic Ultra once we get an answer, so check that out. But in the meantime, you can change the gain mode to basically the camera settings, so camera preset. So in our case, we're using the A7R5 preset, and it works much better. We don't have this noise. It does reduce the audio levels by about 4 decibels. We tried using the auto gain and reducing in post by 4 decibels and seeing if this is the problem, but I think that the Sony preset still sounds better. So take it for what it is, and we're waiting to hear from Saramonic about that. So this is one thing. The second thing has to do with the noise reduction. And as you could have heard in the test that we have done comparing the Lark Max to the Saramonic Ultra, the Lark Max sounded better, I think, with less compression or less noise artifacts, if you like. And we discovered that this has to do with noise reduction. Now, we use the noise reduction level 3, the highest, which is the default. So we didn't test the other two. We will test them later on. But in the meantime, if we don't want this artifact, I suggest turning the noise reduction either completely off or playing with the 1 and 2 options to get less compression noise or artifacts or whatever you want to call them. And again, trying to test that. And we are waiting for Saramonic to look into that and come back to us and let us know what they think about it, if they can do anything to basically correct this, because the Lark Max didn't have this issue. So these are the 2 things. Again, we'll have more updates on the Ultra and the full article on lensvid.com. Now we can conclude. In conclusion, the Saramonic Ultra is one of the most feature-rich wireless mic systems on the market right now. The Ultra contains some truly fantastic capabilities, including 32-bit float internal recording, automatic gain control, noise reduction, long range and long battery life, cable-free connection with Sony cameras using the additional adapter, and much more. Not everything is perfect, of course, and while the screen is nice and the jog wheel works fine, the touch interface takes some getting used to and is not perfect. There is also no separate headphone jack for monitoring, and while the app is really nice and useful, it is hampered by the lack of Bluetooth in the receiver, making it impossible to use with the new Sony adapter. All in all though, the benefits of the Ultra outweighed any of these drawbacks in our opinion, and Saramonic really outdone itself with the Ultra, not a small feat in one of the most competitive market segments in the industry. Pricing is also surprisingly competitive given all those features and is set between $270 for the basic model and $300 for the kit with the 2 lav mics. The Sony adapter is available for around $40. So that was our look at the Saramonic Ultra wireless microphone system and the new digital adapter for Sony cameras. You can check the full review on lensvid.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to find more videos just like this. See you in the next video.